Welcome to another Superior Health Wednesday, joined by Jim LaJoy, Executive Director with Superior Health Foundation. Welcome back.
Good to be here.
So it's a big topic. It's what you do, and it's the reason that you're able to give so much back to the communities. Today we're talking about fundraising, and you've been able to raise so much in the lifetime, in the lifespan of Superior Health Foundation. If that's where you'd like to start today, we can just kind of go into what's the total impact you've been able to have and get as far as fundraising.
Well, happy to talk about this topic, and you kind of laid it out really, really well. With nonprofits, obviously fundraising is a big part of what we do. And, we've been in existence now for nearly 9 years. And in that time, we've raised close to $1.3 million in gifts. And that doesn't include all the money that we've raised with events, with our gala, our golf outing, and our pink event. It's very, very important. We are a 501c3, and we're a public foundation. So we have to meet a litmus test that the state of Michigan puts out there in terms of keeping that public status. You need to continuously raise money, and that's been a big part of it. And you also touched on the fact that we have awarded more than $3.7 million in grants in our existence. And we started with a corpus of money from the sale of Marquette General to Duke Life Point. But I felt very, very strongly that we needed to continuously fundraise and add to that, because the more money we add to that pool of money, the more that we can give back and help the good people of the UP with all sorts of programming, projects, education, equipment, those types of things. So that's been important to us and our board of directors right from the get-go, and we're very thankful that we have a very nice following of people that have stood in our corner and continuously support us.
And the money that you're raising, the funds that you're bringing in, this is all people from Michigan, people from the UP, and organizations believing in what you're doing and just putting the money back into the community. So it's just cycling back around into the community, but funneled through you all, so it has more form and function and is being put to really good uses.
Absolutely. And we have a number of followers and a number of people that have really invested in us over the years on the UP standpoint. We talked, I think a month or so ago, about our monthly giving program, and that's off to a great, great start. We do a midsummer appeal that comes out in August. We do an end of the year appeal in December. And really, Ben, we look at it as we're kind of no different than what, the American Cancer Society is all about. What the American Heart Association, the Alzheimer's Association, yes, they have large sums of money, but they're continuously fundraising because it's important that they invest back in the people that they serve. And, we've had a number of folks across the UP that have been impacted by our grant giving in a personal or professional manner. And many of those folks have turned around and have provided charitable gifts to us. So that's really, really important that we establish those relationships. Those are important to us. And, for us to grow, my motto has always been, we always want to go from good to great. And by raising more money and having more resources, we're in a position to do that. And I think it's just incredibly exciting.
And you've done a good job of positioning yourself in a way to continually fundraise and do a lot of these things. You touched on it for a second. If you want to talk about some of your goals as far as the end of year and the summer fundraising.
Yeah, so usually, we pick a topic for our midsummer appeal that kind of resonates with our donors. And for last year and this year, we're concentrating on our equipment fund. We've talked about our equipment fund where organizations can apply for that monthly. These are grants of up to $2,500 to address equipment needs. And what we have found over the years is that we set aside each year in the equipment fund about $10,000. And that money is typically gone by June or July. And so it's important for us to replenish that. and give people an opportunity to support a fund that is helping out so many different people across the UP. And then with our end of the year appeal, we usually leave that one kind of open-ended, where you can support our equipment fund, you can support the area of greatest need, you can support our Run for Life organ donation fund that we have, our breast health fund, or our indigent care fund that we've talked about in the past too. So, there are options, and people like options. And the good thing is, everyone has a passion for something. And in many cases, we have donors who say, we just want to support Superior Health Foundation and use it whatever is the greatest need. And then we have others that continuously support a fund because it's near and dear to their heart. We have a number of folks who have supported our breast health fund because they've been impacted by breast cancer, and they want to do whatever they can to make sure that there's funding available for those patients that need that out-of-pocket support. So, we've tried to keep that fund and that giving kind of open-ended in the sense that, all that charitable support matters, and it continues to build up what we already have, and that benefits thousands and thousands of people.
And I mean, it's a continuous thing. You're always fundraising, always taking donations, but it's having these specific fundraisers that help bring people's attention back to these specific causes or the general fund and those kind of things. And one of the big things that people might think of is Giving Tuesday.
Yep. Yeah, and Giving Tuesday is, and I'm glad you brought that up. This is something that's very important to us. Giving Tuesday has really taken on a life of its own. It started a number of years ago, and it was a number of smaller organizations that started this, and then it grew, and now it's morphed into something that is just worldwide. And each year for Giving Tuesday, we take on a project for Giving Tuesday that we think resonates with people of the Upper Peninsula. And we'll be heavily involved in those discussions again in the fall to figure out what we're going to do. But just to give you an example, this past year, we recognized during the pandemic that there was a real need for restocking food pantries at the universities across the UP. So we reached out to the 6 universities in the UP, the 4-year institutions, as well as the 2-year community college. And we asked them about their food pantries and where they were at with that. And they said, oh my goodness, there is a tremendous need for replacing, because a lot of these kids were here. They couldn't go home because of the pandemic. And, we reached out and we raised a boatload of money, and we divided that money up and provided funding to help them restock their pantries. And, the joy and satisfaction of that was just tremendous. I mean, we got emails, we got cards. I have a folder of students who wrote and said, thank you so much for giving us the funding for this to help. So, there's always different initiatives that you can approach, but we try to always pick a subject that resonates with people. And food really fits into that because, in order to function and in order to be healthy, you have to have good food choices. And as we've talked about a number of times, our children and our students are our future. And we want to do the best that we can to put them in a position to, be successful.
And there are so many needs, there's so many different topics and so many different areas that you all help with. And organizing, executing, and doing all these different things with fundraisers, it's a lot of work to put those together. But it sounds like, and maybe you could share a little bit of this, just what is it about that keeps you motivated to keep doing this, to spend that time investing in these fundraisers to help other people?
Well, it's a labor of love. It really is. I mean, you touched upon this, and there is a lot of work that goes into it. There's work that goes into creating appeals and putting together a program, pamphlets, and sending out and all that. But it's a worthwhile investment on our behalf because to be able to get support from people and people to invest in the Superior Health Foundation and understand the quality work that we're doing across the UP, that's why we do it. And when people see those donations and how that adds to what we have, and then we're able to showcase that in one of our grant programs and really understand the impact that it can do. That's why we do it. We do it with a smile on our face, and we do it with a jump in our step because it matters to us. And the other thing too that I often say to folks is that giving and philanthropically giving is something that you learn over time. And when you plant seeds with young people about giving and giving back to the community and investing in something that's near and dear to their heart, whether it's a foundation, their church, the United Way, that's good. That will serve them well, as they mature and they grow, because that's an integral part of our society. And I think with the pandemic, there were some real concerns about giving and how that was going to impact giving. And what we're seeing is that giving is on the rise again. It was on the rise the last quarter because I think people understand that there's a definitive need there, and that there are a number of quality organizations that rely on that kind of support to carry out their missions.
It feels good to give. People aren't
Yeah.
always in a position to do that. But when you make that a priority, when you do that first, like say, I'm just going to do this, and you set this amount aside, and then everything else after that, instead of like waiting to see what's left at the end, and then, okay, well, maybe if I have a little bit, that doesn't
Yeah.
happen. But when you make that a priority to spend a little bit, whatever amount that is for you personally, to give and help support others, that's helping our neighbors. It's an easy thing to do, whether it's a quarter or 2,500, whatever that looks like.
Right.
Making that
Yeah,
a priority. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can do it in a number of different ways too. It could be a one-time check. It could be a payroll deduction that's simply taken out of your payroll and going to different places. And you're right. I mean, from a personal standpoint, I've been doing it this way ever since I got out of college. Ever since I, got paychecks. When I set aside money for bills, I set aside money for charitable giving. That's important to me. And whether I write that check or have it done by credit card, it's important for me to be able to invest and make sure that we're supporting those services and those organizations that are doing work, because fundraising is tough work. Nonprofit work is not for everyone. But thankfully, the people that work in this field are very, very passionate, and we're able to make impacts and differences in the lives of people. But your point is well taken. Giving feels good, and when we can teach that, and our young folks can understand that at a young age, and that becomes part of their life, that's a good thing, and that just makes all of us smile.
And that's it, because you might not always be in a position where you can, and then you might be relying on somebody else, the donations or kindness of somebody else to help you. So give when you can, and do it with a smile on your face. Is there anything else I'm missing that you want to touch on today?
No, I don't think so. I think we touched upon a number of things. I mean, I think the big takeaway is that, the need to fundraise is always there. And I think now more so than ever. I mean, we look at what has happened, during this pandemic that went on for, a year and a half. I mean, that's a long, long time. And a lot of people were impacted by that, shelters and food and equipment and all sorts of different things. So, I think the important thing is not really so much how much you give. It's just getting in the habit of doing that and feeling good about it. And we treasure the support that we've had from a number of other individuals and companies across the UP. And, the final message would be, if you're interested, for those who are watching this, that you'd like to become part of our family and support us, we'd love to talk to you. We'd love to talk to you about different ways that are out there, and how your gift can make an impact and improve the health and well-being of people all across this great region we call home.
Very well said. Well, that's it for this week. We'll be back in another couple of weeks with another Superior Health Wednesday. Jim, thank you as always.
Thank you so much, Ben.